Life. Let's make it real. This is a better life. From scars to stars, from pain to bulletproof. Teresa, better life. A better life with you. Talking news, pop culture life, love and scandal, heart to heart. Teresa, better life. Real is where the reset starts. No playing small. We rise, we fall. We laugh, we do it all. A better life is one brave call. Teresa, better life. Let's build a better life. Let's build a better life. A better life. Teresa, better life.
Good afternoon. Let me see if I can get my mic the way I need it to. Good afternoon. Tell me where you're listening from. Say hello in the chat. Hey, Real Isaac. Nice to see you. Nice to see you here. We have so much crazy stuff to cover. I'll wait a little bit as it populates with people. But who watched the Erika Kirk interview on Saturday on CBS with Barry Weiss? I did. I watched the entire thing. Hi, Cisco. Good to see you. It's a big day. It's so big. It is so huge. She's still with us. I figured she would be pretty tired yesterday after meeting with Erika and whoever else, because she did say in her post, she said they. So I don't know if Erika had somebody with her, but I figured, I'm assuming it was pretty emotional. I was telling my husband, if it were me, if I was in Candace's shoes and I'm meeting, we had all this emotion and all this turmoil and all this upset. And as close as she was to Charlie, Erika being the next closest person, I think I would have broken down crying the moment I saw her. Now, maybe Candace is a lot tougher than me in that sense. I don't know. But I would have cried. I would have sobbed. And if Erika is the loving person, that a wife that she proclaims herself to be, or that she was, I don't want to, say she isn't, but I think that she would cry too. Anyways, I would guess it was pretty emotional. And after that being so raw, for her to do a show would have been a lot. And when she made that post, her voice sounded raspy, I'm sure. Well, it was a 4.5 hour meeting. So Candace said she got to ask all of her questions. So no wonder she was hoarse if she did all that talking. Yeah. So there have been so many things. Like, my mind swims with what do I want to compile to bring you guys to talk about, because the world's on fire, right? Like, there is so much every day. There is so much. But if you saw the interview with Erika Kirk, tell me what you think. What did you think of that? Rachel Peters says, I hope Erika was honest and it's not a psyop. Yeah, I know. And a lot of people are already mad that she had a private meeting with Erika, and they're already questioning whether or not it's a psyop, whether we can trust Candace. I think we can, but it doesn't matter. So what I had said is it doesn't matter if Candace backs off of this or not, because now this is bigger than Candace, right? This involves all of us. And if Candace backed off, there would be somebody else, another content creator, another reporter who would rise to the top. Tips would go to them. They'll take it over because it is bigger. It's bigger than Candace. It's bigger than the government would like it to be. It's bigger than TPUSA would like it to be. And also, I don't know if you caught this or not. So there was a truce, right? There was supposed to be an online truce between Erika and Candace and TPUSA. But TPUSA yesterday, they did go do a Charlie Kirk show live, and they did talk about Charlie Kirk and the assassination. They also talked about, they had an expert, a ballistics expert, come in to rebut all of the conspiracy theories and all of the, everything that everybody's saying about being able to climb on the roof and how easy that was and blah, 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 blah. So they spent a good portion of their show doing exactly what they had a truce not to do. So that truce reminded me of Israel. Their truces don't work out very well. They don't. So let's see. Rachel says, don't you think it'll affect her integrity if she backs? Yes. Yes, it will. Some people are anticipating she'll back out slowly. I'm just saying, let's wait and see. And we'll be able to tell. We'll be able to know if she's being transparent. I believe she'll continue to be, but we could be surprised. And that was a dirty move by TPUSA. They're shady. They're shady all the way around. Let's see, that was what Rachel said. And a truce means different things to different people, says Cisco. It does. And apparently to them, it meant something else. it meant something else entirely. But I'll show you this post that Aaron Parnassus, let me see. So CBS ratings from the town hall with Erika Kirk tanked. So, like I said, this is bigger. This is bigger than Candace. It's taken on a life of its own, and it's not going away. It's not going away. So I had posted, I had a lot for you guys to show you guys, a lot, and Candace is going on sooner than I expected. So if you want to stick around after Candace's show to look at the other things I have to show you, I have some things to show you, but I'll show you this. I don't know if you guys know of Lionel Nation. He's on YouTube. Anyways, he made about a 26 minutes, just under 30 minutes. He made a video regarding all this, but I did a short reel on Instagram about it, and I'll just play here what I had posted, and then just a snippet of what he said, which I felt was really good. So let me get this. As we all wait to hear how the conversation went between Erika Kirk and Candace Owens, if you listen to nothing else tonight, listen to Lionel from Lionel Nation on YouTube. Listen to this reel and then go check out the full episode on YouTube.
Listen to me. This is not a battle between two women. It is like a collision between institutional preservation and individual inquiry and suspicion and skepticism, which is what we're about. It's a battle between image, management, PR, and unresolved reality. And Erika Kirk is caught in the middle. That is why sympathy is appropriate, but sympathy doesn't change outcomes. Candace Owens will emerge stronger, regardless of what happens in this room. If she's stonewalled, she'll say so. If she is pressured, she'll expose it. If she's offered silence, she will reject it or reveal it. Every path leads to amplification, hers. TPUSA cannot win this by managing, optics and looks. Media can't win this by sanctifying leadership.
Lies.
Forgiveness cannot be weaponized into some kind of compliance. Look, the truth is not afraid of questions. Only structures are, organizations. And right now, Candace Owens is asking the questions no one else will. And you admire her for that. She's indefatigable. She's relentless. That is why this meeting happened. And that is why, no matter how softly it's framed, Candace Owens remains supreme in this fight. Now that's the reality of this. That's exactly what's happening. And it just got fascinating. And if you go through all of the testimonials and all of the reactions on X or whatever the platforms, you've got these folks who really don't understand the complexity of this. You've got one group of people who just, I guess it's cool to glom on and pile on Candace as some grifter, some whatever it is. It's like, do you not understand what you're doing? Do they not understand how today we live in a world with governments and justice departments and law enforcement who don't do anything? We're feeling that our leadership, elected officials from the White House on down, forget who we are. And we ask ourselves, does anybody stand up first? Does anybody have the guts, the backbone, the integrity, the temerity? Is everybody afraid? No. So when somebody comes up and says, these are my principles, this is what I'm sticking with, and you can't buy me off, you can't, that's it. That's what this is about. And again, I can't be clear. This is not about Erika Kirk. This sounds weird. She's not even a part of this. I'm sorry to say, it's not about her. She's being used. She's being used by people. And the moment, and you know it's true, if you've been in corporate situations or been in a part of a power structure, the moment you're not needed, the moment you become a liability, you're gone. You're finished.
What do you guys think? Do you think Erika's being used? Or do you think she's part of the game, part of this whole thing? So I feel like she's smarter than to just be used, but also she's being used. But I feel like she wants the power. She wants the money. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gone on and done the exact opposite of what Charlie was leaning into and leaning away from. So we'll see, if she revealed something to Candace about that. But we all know Charlie spoke very publicly about where he was and how he felt about free speech, about asking questions of our government, about not trusting, about all of it. All of it. So yeah, there is a longer, I had 3 things compiled for you guys. Let's see. Cisco says, I think Candace isn't dumb. She won't do something that will end up harming her or her family. Yeah. And I don't think her reputation either. So I feel like we are at a point, and I've been saying this for a long time, for a few months at least, of a tipping point. And actually, at some point, I'll get to something that had happened to me last November, that along the lines of a dream that I'll tell you about, and what I felt was coming and what I felt was going to happen, specifically an unraveling of our government. But I think Lionel's right. It's the institution and I've been saying this too, it gets to be where the institution is more important than the person. And as soon as you dissent from the institution, they have no use for you. So it's not just, the same. We've seen it with Donald Trump, with the Republican Party. Anybody who speaks against him, media, anybody who speaks against him, he casts out. And this is what they're doing. This is what they want to do to us on a larger scale. So we need to be careful and be vigilant about what is happening and continue to be strong. Like Lionel said, the people who stand up and who are bold, that's what we all want. We're like, be a voice. But we can all be part of a larger voice, and we can all take part in that. Let's see. Hope says, I don't think she's the victim she wants to portray. I think she's really leaning into the performance, like playing the role of the widow, but there's clearly something much more sinister about her. A lot of people feel that way, for sure. What time do we have, guys? 4:20. So we've got 10 minutes. So I'm going to play you this since we have a little bit of time. This was pretty strong too, and I love what he had to say.
Charlie didn't run TPUSA. Erika Kirk ain't running TPUSA right now, and those clowns out there that are all fucking supposedly speaking for TPUSA, they don't run TPUSA. Charlie told us who runs TPUSA. The millionaire donors. They run TPUSA. You never take money from anybody. Like, if you want to remain independent, if you want to have your own voice, if you want to speak the truth, then you can't take money from anybody. These millionaire gangsters, this is exactly what they do. You think they gave Charlie millions and millions of dollars and didn't think that they fucking owned the show? No, that's how they feel about it. They're gangsters. And when you fucking step outside of the boundaries that they have put forth, you get Charlie Kirked. Like, they put Erika at the CEO of TPUSA. They put her at the head to run cover for them, thinking that, oh, now you won't be able to ask questions about all the evil fucking shit we're doing. They have raised $150 million since Charlie died. $150 million. You're not talking chump change here. This is a giant corrupt organization. No different than the Clinton Foundation with the shell companies. Tyler Boyer moving $8 million into a fucking shell company, unconnected shell companies all the fuck over, investing money into the stock market that was donations. Like, this is the evil shit. This is the world you live in. This is why everything's so fucked up, right? It's the same reason why politicians say shit that you don't understand that sounds dumb as fuck, and you're like, why the fuck would you say that shit? Because they are owned. Because they are paid for and owned. And if you step out of fucking line, if you take millions of dollars and then you step out of line, you get fucking murked. That's what they do. Like, it's not hard to fucking understand this, right? Candace is going to meet with Erika, and Erika's gonna tell her, hey, like, listen, like, we don't get to make these decisions. I'm up here, I don't even have a fucking clue what's going on. No shit, dude, she is a face. She's not making decisions, she is there to run cover. Their idea is that, like, you can't question a grieving widow, and she is TPUSA. Erika Kirk ain't TPUSA. Fuck no, dude. What that institution, it's the Clinton Foundation. It's a political, money laundering, blackmail, bribes, and payoff organization. That's what that is. And Charlie's big crime was leading the people towards true fucking independence and freedom. Listen to what Charlie was saying for the last year. Charlie wanted a full ban on H-1B visas. He wanted to address the fucking housing inaffordability for the fucking young people. Charlie was after the real issues. He was talking about, like, you have to accept that fucking not one person killed JFK. Like, how fucking prophetical is that shit, right? Like, one person did not kill Charlie Kirk. Every time the feds walk out and say, this was a lone person acting, nobody acts alone. Nobody acts alone. You never pull that shit off, dude. Nobody does that. It doesn't exist. That's how you spot a Fed operation. People, this world is a million times dirtier and more disgusting and evil than you can even fucking fathom. And that's why they're all fucking terrified of Candace, because she's pulling it all down. She's pulling it all down. Some of us that have been fucking awake for fucking decades, like, once you see this shit, you can't unsee it, and you just see it everywhere. It's why I fucking live in the fucking middle of nowhere. It's why I fucking do everything for myself and raise my own food and make my own money. I am fiercely independent. I've been this way my entire fucking life. I do not trust any institution. I don't fucking trust anybody. I trust only what I fucking see with my own eyes, what I can discern with my own brain. Be independent. Be a free thinker. Question everything, like Charlie said. Never stop asking questions of authority. You are a fucking American citizen. This is our country, and you deserve answers to every single fucking question that you have. And they should be able to provide them. And when they don't, and they call you names, that's how you know they're lying and covering shit up, all right? Good luck to you all. Long live this beautiful republic. And dude, this is the revolution. Don't get down, don't get upset. Like, this is gonna get fucking rocky, because the whole fucking corrupt system, it's all coming apart here. I fucking love it. Have a good day.
What do you think? Does that get you fired up? It gets me fired up. It gets me fired up because I know it's happening. I know it's happening, what he's saying. I know it's happening. People, we're rising up. We're waking up. We're seeing, we're hearing, we're feeling what's going on, you guys. They say that the world isn't getting worse. We're just noticing more. Well, we're noticing more. We can communicate more because we have social media. Yeah, it didn't get like this overnight. This had to have been built over years. So yeah, it's not new. We're just now being able to talk about it, and they're not able to shut us up, and they're panicking. And those industries and those organizations, they're right. And if you notice, anybody who dissents, they come and they attack in the same way, right? Liars, you're going crazy. Conspiracy theorists, it's the same program all the time, but that's not working. And so they're going to, TPUSA has gotten hip to this. This is why they had their expert on the Charlie Kirk show yesterday talking, because they're like, oh, okay, so this is how we're going to combat it. Although I think it's a little late. But the only way they're going to be able to stop this or to slow it down is by interrupting our flow of information, which they've already done on TikTok, which they want to do on Instagram, and the rest will follow. But I don't think they're going to be able to. I don't think they can turn this bus around. Yeah, I don't think they can at all. I was watching what is it? Brett Cooper. So Brett Cooper had some stuff to say about the H-1B, the student visas, about that. Also, Tim Pool had a rant. I don't care for Tim Pool a lot, but he had a rant on his show regarding what the administration is doing to Republicans, to their own party, who say anything against us. And they talk about cult. They talk about cult leadership and cult mindset. It's exactly what they have and exactly what they require if you're a part of the club. You cannot have your own mind. You cannot have your own voice. But yeah, so Cisco says the expert TPUSA had on is a compromised person. So I had asked that in X. I said, who is this guy? And I know that they'll turn around and the investigators and the sleuths, the online sleuths, and that will be able to give us a lot of information. So Cisco, did you see that on X? Are you on X? Anyway, so this morning, the New York Post came out with a little smear hit piece on Candace. So just after the conversation, the private amicable conversation between Erika Kirk and Candace Owens, then the New York Post, who is bought and paid for by the right, comes out with this hit piece calling her it's a terrible piece. You can look it up. New York Post today, this morning, made that. So that lets me know that the PR machine for TPUSA is going, and they're sending stories over to discredit Candace, even though this meeting seemed to be friendly and they seem to have a thawing, as what either Candace or Erika called it, a thawing of the anger and harshness that they had. So I find that funny. Again, I was asking the question, why the 15th? Why was it so important on the 15th that Candace meet in person? It happened one way or another, but people were saying it's because of the their big show that starts tomorrow. So they needed to change the optics a little, and then they came out right afterwards swinging, planting their PR pieces. Cisco's on X. Okay. Saw the video on X. It made me start screaming this morning. Yeah, that was, so I don't know if Candace will address that, or it will be really interesting to see what kind of posturing and what kind of tone she has today, and what she's sticking to her guns on. For sure. Let me see if I have time to do this other thing. No, that's a longer one. That's a longer clip. I played that for you. So, yeah, I have about another 7-minute clip that I had wanted to show you, and it really speaks exactly to what I'm saying and their plan and what they're expecting to do. They want to silence the independent voices. And it's said very clearly, and they called Republicans, they called the conservative people at this summit, they called for everybody to come out and start hitting hard. So we'll see how that's going to play out there. I better refresh this so we don't miss anything here on Candace's live. Okay, she's supposed to start at, what is it, 4:30? Did she say 4:30? Did you guys see that post? Let me make sure. Yeah, 4:30. Okay, so it's been intense. So I actually haven't been able to sleep for about not very well and consistently for the last couple of weeks. This really does get me going. It has me thinking and wondering and thinking about which direction, what I'm called to do, what is my part in all of this, and how do I put my energy to use in the best way possible to help the most of us that we can. I guess part of that is being here, but I'm trying to think what I can do locally in government, if anything, not myself, but to support, somebody, other people other than a Democrat or Republican or, at least I feel like you can be one of the two, but still have a mind and a voice and be willing to use it. Here we go. Shabbat shalom. Okay, sorry guys. Why isn't this going on? Stage.
Okay, you guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. The amount of people who attacked me for sending out a tweet being like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive. We had a very productive conversation. And they were like, she got the call. She got the call. She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Erika said, stop. And then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes, just like, as they just put all of these talking points into my head. That is not what happened. I keep telling you guys, I am not governable. I am basically akin to Kanye West. I never felt more seen than when he tweeted a lot of years ago, just fired my manager because I realized I can't be managed. That is me. That tweet right there, I was like, oh gosh, yes, Kanye, I get this. Okay. Nobody is changing their mind anything. How ridiculous would it have been if I'm doing all of this, investigating, asking all of these questions, and then Erika Kirk offers to answer some of these questions, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. I can't betray the people. I don't want any answers to the questions. I just want to ask them. No, this is the entire reason we are doing this. We've been looking at the situation going, why can't Turning Point USA just answer basic questions? And I can tell you guys that yesterday, for 4 hours and 30 minutes, there were no rules. They said you can ask us any question that you want, anything that's on your mind, which I appreciated. And some of you guys are thinking, who is they? Who is they? It's the Jews, obviously. Just kidding. It's Justin Strife. Justin Strife was in the room. It was just Justin Strife and Erika. George joined me just for the beginning portion of the conversation because he had that thing going on that I told you on the 15th all day. He was in a conference. And then I brought my cousin Mia, the one that has a really bad attitude. I just bring her there for vibes. I think it just confuses people. They're like, I don't understand what's this person doing here. And the reality is she's like always just listening to Cardi B music. But she's my cousin and I always have her around. And so that was it. She was kind of sitting a little bit away, but at the table, it was really just the four of us until George left. And I will be honest, I did not know what to expect going into the room. I did not know if they were going to be open. I didn't know what Erika's energy was going to be like, if it was going to be more of an argument, if there was going to be legal threats. You guys were telling me not to drink water, so I didn't drink water. Well, I brought my own water, but I didn't drink that water too. was a lot. There's a lot going on. Okay. And the conversation started with Justin Strife very sensibly saying, what are we looking to accomplish here? Like, what is the actual aim of this conversation? And he was pretty clear, and Erika was very clear, that they were sort of most upset with what obviously a bit of a fever pitch, what I tweeted, that it was a godforsaken company and people should not give money to it. And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive in the retrospect. I was very frustrated. And I don't know, I felt like we weren't getting any answers and there were so many lies. And then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly. I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack for telling the truth from the very beginning, like casually, when I mentioned the Catholicism thing. Like, what was that about? I was like, look, I say something in a tribute to him. Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett then jump onto a podcast and they're doing that weird interview, which is clearly aimed at me. And they've teased the interview as like aimed at me, but they never say my name. And that to me felt like it was the first, I don't know, the first bit of mud that was slung, which their answer for that was, hey, that was a really crazy time. A new system had to be put into place. And by no means did Erika give any person the authority to go out and say that the Catholicism thing was a lie. It kind of turned into this big thing. Whatever. Okay, that kind of obviously was not the meat of the reason that we wanted to sit down. I will say I was immediately refreshed by the fact that one of the first things that Erika did was she owned the lies, or rather, I guess they would cage it as miscommunications that were coming from various people at the company. Like, look, this is a company with 650 people that are employed. Everybody at this time is exceedingly emotional and they are communicating. And no matter what somebody says on Twitter, they assume that this communication has come down from management, and that's not always a circumstance. But they owned right away, which felt great, that if you guys recall, Erika sat down with Glenn Beck. I actually missed this portion because I didn't get to watch the interview in its entirety, and we were pulling clips because a lot was coming out very quickly. But there was a portion that was going around that was viral, and it was Erika saying that she had Charlie's phone, and that Charlie never texted anybody the night before saying that he thought that they were going to kill him. And that obviously reflected poorly on me because I was the one who said that he did, in fact, text multiple people the night before. And then I went on Jimmy Dore on Friday, Jimmy Dore's show, and I clarified. I said, Andrew Colvett told me specifically that he was one of the people that received this text message. So I got that first person. I didn't get that from a source. I got that directly from Andrew Colvett. And then somebody who had access to Dan Flood's communications said that Dan Flood similarly received a text message. They owned that right away and explained. Erika said that she has Charlie's phone. She's looking at his iMessages. And it turns out that he, like everybody else, communicates on Signal. He communicates on Telegram. And that when she heard me say that, they then went and looked. And yes, that what I said was true. Andrew Colvett received a message the night before, and Dan Flood received a message the night before. Now, they asked me if I had actually like a concrete a copy of what Dan Flood got the night before. And I said, no. If somebody told me what it said, which was almost exactly what Andrew said, which is they're going to kill me. Andrew did not know who the they that he was referring to were, but they clarified that the message that Dan Flood received said the left is going to kill me. So I can't confirm that one way or the other. I have to trust them on that because I did not see that concrete message. I was told that it said they. Now, obviously, we discussed the moment, and I'm laughing here because you TikTokers are actually out of control. You guys are going to be the reason that Israel gets TikTok because you guys are acting a fool all the time. And the videos were so hilarious of you guys mocking the Barry Weiss interview. It's great. It's good to laugh at ourselves. And Barry Weiss is always worth laughing at. But I was sort of like, hey, I felt name checked by the podcaster, Candace Owens, this obvious setup, and then asking me to stop. And it's interesting to hear Erika say that the reason she didn't ask me to stop in the beginning because she was actually learning things from the show. She was actually learning things, and that I think she similarly felt that Barry Weiss was trying to create a moment. Obviously, it's who Barry Weiss is. It's the Zionist lobby. She's trying to right perceived wrongs because I'm against her side. That does not surprise me. That's kind of why Barry Weiss exists. That's the reason they put her at CBS, is because she's just committed to stacking the audience with people that are going to present the pro-Israel cause and talk about anti-Semitism and talk about like crime being on the rise. It's kind of an embarrassment, but I actually do accept that. And I should also clarify that Barry Weiss obviously picked those questions. They were not random, like I told you. It wasn't like people were coming to the mic and it was an open mic and they didn't know what they were going to get. It was all very much planned by Barry. But
Yes.
Erika said that she knew the general idea, like they were going to mention me and mention the conspiracies, but she was not given that specific, the podcaster, Candace Owens, question. So I think that's fair to clear that up. Now, I did not at all recant any of my suspicions, and I understand people disagree with me about particular people at Turning Point USA. I communicated what I communicated in front of the whole world. My skin crawled after I spoke to Terrell Farnsworth, the person who took the cameras down. He lied to me several times. I explained to them, which felt good to have that direct communication, how Terrell lied multiple times, and that I did not understand why he was there that day. They echoed what he said. They defended what he said, that they were trying something new that day, that they typically live stream, which is what Terrell said. They typically live stream. And I said, every college event. Well, they said, well, yeah, they live stream the events that are tour stops, but they don't live stream like the outside prove me wrong type events. And that was something that was new and it required Terrell. And I said, even if that was all real, if that was all true, I still didn't feel good about the conversation that I had with Terrell. And I can't ignore my gut about the many little lies that he told. I thought the video he recorded was weird. I know he comes from a very powerful family. I personally do not trust him. And I obviously do not like the fact that I said, Tyler Boyer lied about this thing and said, came up with an excuse and said, well, Terrell was asked to take the camera down. That's the reason, he said on Twitter, because the police wanted him to take it down and secure the footage. And I said, I know that's not true. And they said, well, after all of that, after he took the cameras down, there was a police officer or Fed, whoever it was, that spoke to him and asked him to secure the footage. Well, that makes sense, but it's not a reason for why he took it down immediately. It makes sense that as you're investigating, you're going to say, who's got the footage? Let's lock it down. But it didn't make sense to me that Tyler Boyer lied about it. And I don't trust Tyler Boyer. And that is never going to change. Similarly with Rob McCoy. He makes my skin crawl. I can't explain it. I look at him and he's a bad person and nobody can make me feel one way or the other about that. I was surprised to learn, and this kind of gets into, I guess, us not knowing the inner workings at Turning Point USA, that Rob McCoy actually does not work with Turning Point USA in any capacity whatsoever. And so him communicating as he has done, like, I'm the pastor, I'm this, I'm that, it's just not real. Like, that is not real. And we should know that that's not real. And when he says that, call him out on that separately from Turning Point USA. I was operating under the assumption that he worked for Turning Point USA. And I said, if obviously that's wrong, I'm happy to correct that. But also, what were we to assume when he hit the stage at the memorial and said, I'm America's pastor, and then had the Wikipedia updated and said, well, I'm assuming he had it updated because who else would do that he started Turning Point USA Faith. So I guess, to be clear, we were just wrong about that. And I will have a lot more to say about Rob McCoy and where I believe he fits into a lot of things. So I'm not letting up on that. Now, one piece of this where I still don't understand it, and the magic bullet. Okay. Now, we all recall what happened. I casually say on the show, hey, I saw the footage. There was no blood. And honestly, when I said it, I didn't process how big of a deal that was with the 30-06. Very quickly, what happens is Andrew Colvett whips up this tweet about what happened with the bullet. And he said he wanted to address all the discussion that was being had about the online chatter. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. He says, I apologize. It's going to get graphic, but he spoke with the surgeon. The bullet should have gone through. The surgeon then explained that what he's typically seen on these wounds, and basically this was all a miracle. Charlie saved lives, even in death.
Yeah.
And the internet clocked it this miracle, the healthy bone, his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive. Like, this is a quote, by the way. His bone was so healthy. I want to read it. This is allegedly from a surgeon. Quote, his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. And we were just like, eeh. That kind of was like the beginning of the WTF, right? I feel like that was kind of the beginning of it. And immediately people in the comments responded to Andrew, and he said, this individual said, this post is so fake as it would violate HIPAA. Like, there's patient privacy. You can't just call up the surgeon. And then Andrew Colbert replies and says, rest assured, I would not have posted without full permission. Now, he said he spoke to the surgeon, and they confirmed that Andrew spoke to the surgeon, but that they did not know that he was going to write that tweet. They did not know that he called up the surgeon. So like, it very much came across to be like Andrew was just flying by the seat of his pants. I don't know. Like, he was just flying dark on me. And I was like, that seems very strange to me, because why would a surgeon do that? Like, the first thing the surgeon should say is, I can't speak to you.
Right.
I don't even know, in theory, Andrew wasn't even there when Charlie died. I don't even know.
And why would Andrew take that upon himself to do? Like, why?
Why the surgeon even knows this guy, actually. Maybe he hung around after, but, you know, Andrew was not one of the people that got into the hospital or anything like that. So this is quite literally the PR guy who's calling the surgeon. And so that just seems very
Weird.
inappropriate for a person to do, period. And I would say it was kind of the beginning, but that was what I got from that. Now, obviously, we discussed the security. I brought up Brian Harpole, this interview with Sean Ryan, and I think we can believe Turning Point when they say that they did not approve of this. They had no idea he was going on Sean Ryan. I think that's pretty clear. I don't believe he works there anymore. So that was kind of him just getting out there and perhaps trying to rescue his own reputation. And I think that only made his reputation worse, actually, because people rightfully sensed that he wasn't telling the truth in that interview, that he was being cagey, that he was saying things that didn't make any sense. Again, you constantly have these people that believe, like Brian Harpole, that with enough performance, he can sit down and you're just going to convince people that this is real. And this is just a different time. Like I said, these TikTokers are out of control. They will check you in 4 seconds. Okay.
On every detail too.
The biggest piece of this that I want to communicate, and that I did communicate to them, and I hope that they took me seriously on this, or rather that they take my strong advice on this. I said, one of the reasons why I really want to sit down is because I want to walk out of here and feel confident saying to my audience, hey, like, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. Like, that more will come out, but you can take it from me that this is what happened. I was looking to achieve that because there's been a lot of signaling from various people, some people who are experts, some people who have been involved in cases, that there's obviously going to be stuff that the public does not have access to. And so it is at least plausible that they have seen very clear footage that we've been asking for of Tyler Robinson getting up there and taking the shot. Like, they have access to UVU camera. So I was hoping to hear that. And I said that I want to hear why people feel so confident at Turning Point USA that Tyler Robinson is the guy. And at this point, they elected to call the lawyer, like, you know, their lawyer who is involved in this case, one of the lawyers that's involved in this case. There's always a team of lawyers, especially for something like this. And what I got from the lawyer did not make me feel that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. It did not make me feel confident that he didn't or did shoot Charlie Kirk. I was very surprised by this. He spoke a very long time. I asked, you know, can you share with me what it is? And I said, when you share this with me, I will not say what that thing is. If we want to protect the integrity of the case, I'm not gonna. If you say we've got the footage of him taking a shot, I promise I won't say that to the audience. But I will communicate to them that you have something that is solid. And no, to the exact contrary, this guy effectively said, not effectively, he said that they have nothing but the affidavit.
Okay.
So what we have seen is what they have. what is being discussed publicly, you are this whole like non-expert problem with like, well, you don't know. It's like what
Except Erika has been saying she's seen it all, so she knows it. I mean, that's what they've all been saying. They've said they have evidence that they can't show, that we can't know about, and that's how they know for sure. So that was misleading.
you read. His messages that don't have any dates on it, Tyler Robinson writing out everything in the clean alibi, that's what they have. And what he explained to me was that that's the affidavit stage. That's where it's at. And then what takes place now is the investigation is ongoing, right? So right now they're looking for more information. And once investigators, they could very well have obviously footage. And that is why they might feel that, oh, we're definitely gonna get this prosecution. But the reality is they don't actually share that information with the victim. They don't share that information with Erika. They don't, in this part of the process, they will not know what investigators have discovered. This is what the lawyer told me until May. Okay. They have not seen anything that you have not seen, is what I want you to know. So with that in mind, I'm sitting here going, why are you signaling? Why do I feel like the public's being gaslit on this?
Right.
There's been nothing that's convincing. There are so many commentators who have gone out and said to you, it's overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. The text messages that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That to me feels really fake and gay. I really do want to say that to every commentator that is out there trying to tell the public and insisting that if you say it enough times it'll become real, you're actually just being dishonest. And I offered that a more honest way to communicate would be to say, we think he's involved. We feel strongly. I've said that. I think he's involved.
Mm-hmm.
We are very hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to get that concrete thing. And that's where we're at right now. That's just the stage that we are at. That is not what we are getting from them. That is like, I just feel like that's really important to let you guys know. Let the gaslighting stop. They have what you have, okay? There is nothing else. They are in an investigative stage. Erika has been named as the victim. They will know more in this May hearing, which is the probable cause hearing. That's what the lawyer told me. It's probable cause hearing. And that's when they will see the evidence. That's when they get to present the evidence, why they are going to stand there before a judge and be like, yes, we need to move this forward. It's not just an affidavit. We're not pulling together scraps. We have concrete evidence. Until then, okay, until we all get on the same page and understand what else they have, I am very confident stating the opposite of all of my, I guess, well-paid peers in that I don't believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. And what I also said to them was, and I said this in front of the lawyer because I don't know why I'm like this. I was like, you might need a new lawyer. I was like, because this person's trying to sell to you that this is solid. One of the rules that me and my husband have is that if you have a lawyer that tells you like you're 100% going to win, it's very clear that you're going to win, you need a new lawyer. Okay, that's a cheerleader. That's not a lawyer. A lawyer, even if you should 100% win, should be telling you the risks here.
Right.
You know, I feel good about this case. Like, let me talk real to you. I feel good about this case, but here's where things could go wrong. I want you to understand those risks that are involved. We don't have this yet. We don't have that yet. And especially given what I told them, which is your lawyers, or the investigators rather, not their lawyers, because they're not the ones investigating. It's the state of Utah that's investigating. They have not called the one solitary person, as I told you guys, who filmed as he was on the roof. Remember the guy that's like, oh, there's somebody on the roof, and he sees him crouched down. I said, I spoke to that person, and his testimony would be devastating to your prosecution. He saw the person on the roof. He filmed the person on the roof at 12:23 p.m. and he did not see that person take the shot. And this is not some random student. This is a guy who trains people to shoot guns at a range. He knows guns, okay? He said what he saw was a smaller gun. He said that this person was dressed in black tactical gear and there was no recoil. That's devastating. That would be devastating to the prosecution.
Reasonable doubt.
And yet, investigators haven't reached out. Now they offered back, well, maybe they haven't reached out because they have an even clearer video and that's true. That's actually a good rebuttal. They're like, we don't even have to talk to this guy because the video will speak for itself. And we saw what we saw. Okay, but wouldn't you still want to speak to the other guy so you could prepare? I don't know, to question him something. I don't like that this investigation is going on, and I feel as though I spoke to more people than they have. Both of the people who filmed videos that day told me that they weren't reached out to. So I don't understand what's happening here. I don't understand the confidence, I guess, is the best way to say this. I told him I do not understand the confidence that is happening. Now, another really big thing that happened was they brought me Mikey's call logs. Okay. They brought me Mikey's call logs. And that is why I said this was a productive meeting. There is no other way to say it. I asked every question and they came with paperwork to show and to answer and to explain certain things. Also, which was, I thought actually kind of sweet that I guess I did on the previous show. I was like kind of looking at things into Mikey and I couldn't find him. And someone said, I think Mikey's not his like real name. Like they thought it was his middle name actually. And I just assumed, okay, well, maybe he's using his middle name and that's why I can't find him. But Mikey really wants you guys to know that is his real name. And it is his real name. I found out shortly thereafter that they were confusing his middle name with, they thought it was switched. That Michael is his real name, just to clarify that. Because I realized I actually didn't go back and clarify that.
Mikey's Mikey.
But Mikey's call logs, big piece of this, okay? I'm going to, I guess, jog your memory on what Blake said about Mikey that day, and then I'll tell you what actually happened because I don't think Blake has that great of a memory. Okay, take a listen.
So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. I think I was ahead of him as we left. And then we get out, and I run for, can't have been more than 15 or 20 seconds. And then I realized there hasn't been another shot, so the shooter has likely been detained or stopped or something, not in immediate danger. I pause, I look around me, and I see Mikey. And I see Mikey there. And truthfully, I will never forget what I saw because I've seen Mikey almost every day for the past 2 years. I know his personality very well. He's a very bubbly guy. He's a very happy guy almost all of the time. And I'll never forget what I saw because it was clear in the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before. And you very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was, then he was looking around and then he says, I need to call Erika. And then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erika. And I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded, but he did that. Your mind extends all of this, but that is happening within a minute of all of this occurring. I remember he calls Erika. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. Pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that call. And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy. And he says, Dad, someone shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends. Charlie was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. And that's what he told him.
Okay, so that's just not right. And so when he says, I might be imagining this, I'll never forget, followed by I might be imagining this, probably means that maybe you forgot and like you really could be imagining. Now, for me personally, I think the normal physiological response in these high adrenaline situations for most people is you lock in. They're literally your body, when it goes through something, when it's terrified and it's going through this sort of like you are really paying attention to details. We've learned about this many times over in health class growing up. This is why they talk about that fight or flight response, and quite literally there's stuff happening to your body. And so there's a lot of details here that are just not accurate. And the one that surprised me the most about these call logs is I certainly feel that we were given the impression over and over and over again that the first person Mikey called was Erika, right? He called Erika. We were told this by many people also that he trained, like he almost like went to a camp and trained, and
he knew
Charlie
exactly
was like,
what to
go,
do.
and like fast, 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
Go. That's why he walked away. 1, 2, 3, go. And just
Like a general.
told him, this is what the first thing you do is. Well, he didn't do that. Actually, the first person he called was his wife. He called Elizabeth McCoy. And then he stayed on the phone with his wife for 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, he three-wayed.
Wait, okay, but didn't Andrew and them say that the first call that he made was to Erika? So where are they getting this information? They're just like throwing out all kinds of things, because after the whole, I called my dad first, and Pastor McCoy saying, well, he called me first, and blah, 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 blah. They were like the first call. And even Erika, I believe Erika said the first call was to her within seconds. He called her. and then called his dad. So multiple people giving multiple stories.
Erika 3 minutes after the shot went off. And then he three-ways his father, and then he three-ways a third person who I am not interested in mentioning because it's not relevant. This is Danny McCoy, by the way, is his brother that's in the military, but that's before the shot goes off. Charlie Kirk shot goes off. You know, I have that in detail. Charlie's brought to security. Mikey McCoy calls his wife. They will stay on the phone for 10 minutes. Okay. In that same minute, because we know this, because Blake Neff has given us his call log to his mother, Blake Neff called his mom. His call with his mother lasted 45 seconds. So we're assuming it went to 12:25. It very well could have stayed in 12:24, depending on the millisecond. Blake Neff ends that phone call with his mother. Mikey McCoy, after the phone call with his mother ends, adds Erika to the phone. Okay, so that when he was recapping and he's like, oh, his lips quivering, and he's like, I got to call Erika. And he's like, and then I called my mom. That's not right. That's just not right. Okay, Mikey called Erika after Blake Neff ended that phone call with his mother. If call logs are to be believed above, human testimony. Mikey McCoy then drops Erika from the phone call 2 minutes later, and then he adds his father to the phone call. Again, he is this entire time on the phone with his wife, okay? And then Mikey McCoy ends his phone call with his father. He does call another person who I'm not mentioning because it's just not relevant to anything, not a character in the story, rather. And then he ends the phone call with his wife, and a minute later, his brother calls him back, and they stay on the phone for 10 minutes. I did not get this from everybody speaking about this Mikey McCoy call
Everything
log. I know
except that.
you guys did not get this. I did not get this. I don't know why she was disappeared from this. Like, you could go, like, the wife wants privacy. No, she was like, main stage at the memorial, has been, I would say very involved in a lot of this kind of, I think it's very close that she's close with Erika. They went on the vacation together. So I don't get this disappearing act. I found that to be like, okay, but they were forthcoming with it. That feels good. That feels good, guys. Like, wow, we don't have to guess. Now we have solid answers. And like I said, when you come out and give solid answers and you're not weird and calling people names and saying all this stuff, it allows people to go, okay, I feel a bit more like we can trust this process because we have communication. That's the reality. And so I wanted to update you with that. Also, another thing that really, I think, surprised them and I think surprised me is getting back to this Hamptons retreat. The thing about the Hamptons retreat, and I communicated this with them, that makes me so uncomfortable is how many little lies were told. I think I've been clear about that. Like, Seth Dillon definitively pressed Charlie at this event. Now, whether it was in a hypothetical, which it was in a hypothetical, but he got fired up in the hypothetical of Charlie discussing potentially tweeting something against Bibi Netanyahu, it did lead to this firecracker moment. Again, this is one of those things where I go, why am I always being hung out to dry for telling people the truth? Especially when I wasn't going, oh, well, Seth Dillon killed Charlie Kirk. I just, this happened. It factually happened. And yet everybody's kind of putting out these weird statements and they're not being honest in them. And I was saying to them, that made me feel really weird. And I would love to know more about this Bibi Netanyahu offer to fund Turning Point to the next level. At which point Erika said she was not aware of that happening. It is obviously totally possible that that was kept in the business lane of Turning Point USA. But I'm certain, I said, I am absolutely certain that I did not get this from an obscure source that Bibi offered to fund Turning Point to the next level. And it was part of my frustration with that sit down with Alex Clark, where Andrew said, oh, there was not $150 million that's made up. I told them, Andrew Colvett was my source. Andrew Colvett told me verbatim that Bibi Netanyahu offered to take Turning Point to the next level and that Charlie turned that money down. So I said,
So Andrew keeps yapping and it keeps coming back to bite him. Why does he keep yapping?
bit of a predicament when I'm being like lambasted by all of these voices and people that are attacking me and these paid campaigns. And when I say paid, yes, okay, actually have the names of people. Different ways they're being paid. Some are being paid by PR firms. Too many are being paid by Prager University, which is upsetting to me because I know Marissa and it's just dirty. But it's especially crazy when people are calling it a conspiracy when I share things that are told to me from the spokesperson of Turning Point USA. Okay. That's weird. And yes, they were forthcoming. Nobody's ever denied this. So this was not on our list of lies about the fact that Bibi Netanyahu did call him. Okay. That did happen. Bibi shared that, by the way. Our source for that could have just as well been Bibi Netanyahu. And not a lot of clarity on, I don't know, why some people think he didn't make this offer and why definitively 3 different sources who would have knowledge of this confirmed to me that Bibi Netanyahu did indeed make this offer. I never said $150 million ever, not once on the show. I wouldn't have even said that, by the way. If you said take Turning Point to the next level, I actually would have assumed it was more, if I'm being honest. That's a hefty offer and it leads to a lot of questions. So there was not a lot of clarity there. Lastly, I want to add, of course, I was locked in this meeting when people on live were another round of debunking the Egyptian planes. I want to be very clear. We discussed the Egyptian planes, and I have since worked on an incredible document about the Egyptian planes, which we are going to put up on our website because I realized that when we shared that spreadsheet, people assumed that one of the columns, which was actually saying where the planes landed on that day, because it was plus or minus 3 days, was exactly where Erika had been on that day, and that was inaccurate. And so for clarity, I had been working on the last week on turning it into an interactive timeline that we can put up on our website, because I'm certain that these Egyptian planes are incredibly shady and that they were, in fact, tracking Turning Point USA faith, broader events. Of course, Erika was at some of them, Charlie was at some of them, but it is the pattern here is undeniable. So let the naysayers and people make videos trying to, 5th round debunk these planes. I also want to say to you that I feel very confident that I know why these planes have caused such panic. And it is because there is overwhelming evidence that these planes regularly fly in and out of Israel. And I'm going to present that evidence tomorrow. I say that strongly. This is I feel very confident saying these Egyptian planes are flying in and out. And notice I'm saying planes because once I was able to connect people that were on those planes onto other Egyptian planes, I was able to realize that these planes are flying in and out of Israel and turning their transponder off each time that they do it. That is now makes perfect sense of why there was this mass panic, right? It's not exactly like we have a strong Egyptian lobby in the United States. Now we're like, whoa, well, those darn Egyptians again are trying to get TikTok censored. I mean, every person in the game, Barry, acting. Well, these are the usual suspects that act if something is a threat to Israel, okay? Which is, they should have just been forthcoming, pretended that it was changing apart. Instead, they're trying to gaslight us, and they're actually, frankly, just pissing me off. So I became locked in on these Egyptian planes because that's how I am, okay? You keep pushing me and keep pushing me, I will become an expert on these planes. I'll learn how to build an Egyptian plane. The reality is, like I said, tomorrow I will show you how these planes tie back to Israel. And there's no disproving this, so.
So do you guys think that they're just there to observe because they're worried about what Charlie's going to say, but they could watch the recording? So why in person? And who was on the planes?
More on that later. We'll be right back after throwing into some of our sponsors. All right, you guys, when they double down on abortion.
Okay. So what do you think? What do you think so far? Everybody was really worried about her backing off, about her dumping the investigation, about her believing every single thing. What do you think so far? Do you think she sounds like Candace still? It just seems weird why they were so concerned as to fly around the Kirk events. Exactly. And why fly? And there's all kinds of other ways they could listen in. So yeah, that doesn't make sense to me too, and it doesn't answer it. So it'll be interesting to find out if Candace finds out who exactly was on those planes. And do you think it'll change the French connection? She hasn't mentioned anything about that. So I wonder where she'll go with that, or if that's going to be abandoned. I think Candace is still Candace. She is probably keeping some info hidden, though. I think, you know, what she's done this whole time is she's let them talk. She'll say things and then just give it space so that they can talk, and we can see them lie. So she gives them enough rope to hang themselves. But to me, it seems pretty good. The whole Mikey thing, like, why is Andrew Colvett inserting himself and saying things? So to me, he's still the most guilty. If you guys would look back on my YouTube, I don't know if you saw the Andrew Colvett short that I did, but when he was on Megyn Kelly, and he says they're processing their guilt, supposedly, he meant another word, their sadness. So anyways, here she is.
And asking where the best place is to watch my show without the tech overlords deciding what you are allowed to see or
Rumble,
what topics are considered
Are you on
quote,
Rumble?
acceptable. Well, honestly, the answer is Rumble. If you're not already on Rumble, Rumble is the free speech video platform where you can find my show, and we're a huge community of independent creators, people who are sick of censorship, demonetization, and shadow banning, are
Leave
building real
TikTok.
audiences. Most people do not realize this, but Rumble actually hosts some of the largest political live streams in the world. It's the place where creators can speak freely without having their reach throttled.
Peter Thiel he was a huge investor. I don't know if he's still in it. I think he is, but Peter Thiel was a huge investor in Rumble.
Just grab your phone, open the App Store or Google Play, type in Rumble, and hit download. Once you're in, you can search for Candace Owens and click follow so that you never miss a new episode. You'll get notified every time that I go live. If you care about free speech, if you want platforms that respect your right to think for yourself, and if you're tired of big tech deciding what's allowed.
Yeah, I've had so many videos removed from TikTok, and now I have an account warning. You can't say the word attack. You can't type the word attack. You have to you can't say Israel. They don't like that.
Okay, so a couple of things I want to say. First and foremost, I just got a live update that I thought it was Danny McCoy on the call log. I should totally correct that, and I will correct that, and we'll be sure to trim it in post here. But it is not Danny McCoy. It is Danny, another one of Charlie's assistants. So I will correct that. Please correct that if you're going to make videos. Not Danny McCoy that called him and then called him after. That is another assistant of Charlie's. So we want to be accurate. I don't know why I assumed it was Danny McCoy in my head. I may have done that. Okay, another thing. You guys may have been noticing that we are getting into this weird space where they seem to be almost writing like Candace Owens fan fiction. I can't even reply to things, and a lot of you sense that this was because we were getting close. I agree. I fully agree that these attacks, which have grown hysterical, like I can't even begin to tell you the conversations between me and my PR person. I'm like, there's nothing to respond to. I mean, there's not even one sentence of this that is true. Case in point, by the way, New York Post does this article today. We were actually laughing, okay? Like, inside Candace Owens' sadistic and dangerous world, monetizing baseless conspiracies. This is after, by the way, they changed my husband's Wikipedia and said that he was a Qatari, like he had a Qatari passport or citizenship. I don't think my husband's ever even flown over Qatar. I could be wrong, but I don't think I know he's never been to Qatar. I don't think he's ever flown over Qatar. And they're just making it up, and then they make it trend no matter what it is. And I'm like, this is happening. It's like a psychological operation because they're trying to keep us constantly responding as opposed to focusing on our investigation, which is why I spent this weekend and I just kept down on the Egyptian plains because it's completely crazy. And when you see a media storm like this, it can only be happening because Zionists are locking arms and going attack because they.
But that would include TPUSA because PR companies, they have their own PR companies and they plant their own stories and they go to the media that is friendly with them, and they do this. So I hope she is keeping that part in mind.
Are by and large control the media. They just do. Okay. One way or the other, Zionists control the empire medias, and they are scared about something in this investigation. We've noticed that from the very beginning. So they wrote in this article, the New York Post, just to give you an example of how insane this is. They said they had an inside source that told them that while I was at the Daily Wire, I just fought with people from the very source that in my first week, I threw my car keys at a producer and expected them to park my car. That sentence genuinely made me laugh so hard.
That's hilarious.
Because I never once in the entire time that I worked for the Daily Wire did I ever drive my car to work. Okay. I just didn't. They had a driver that took me there. So I don't know why I would suddenly take the driver's keys and then throw it at somebody, but quite literally, I never drove the Daily Wire. So it's just when I say fan fiction, I'm like, this is fan fiction. Secondly, they say I did that to a producer and that I conducted, demanded others do my research. Could not be further from the truth. I have always done my own shows. I
Maybe Andrew Colvin is their source. And Blake Neff.
I can't read a script. I riff my shows. I think that's pretty obvious that I demanded a huge studio, attempted to use their PR firm to get the cover of People magazine, like full fan fiction. There's not even a shred. I don't even think we ever had a conversation about People magazine because that would not be a normal outlet for any conservatives. That I wanted to be on the cover of People is insane. And they said that their sources also said that like my team hated me. My team came with me when I got fired. My whole team's here. So I was just going, okay, what is happening here? Why are we talking about Qatar? Why are they making these things up? And I have come to the same conclusion as you. It is because we are dangerously close to something. I think we have to keep pushing on the Huachuca Air Base, which we are doing. And tomorrow we are going to get back into the investigation. We're just going to ignore the noise because, as I have said and as I have maintained, I believe that Charlie was betrayed by people that are close to him. And I asked that question in the meeting. I'm like, okay, if we can agree that everyone around, I was like, I know there are people at Turning Point, they're not good people, right? And it's feasible that people, if they have addictions, that they, you can definitively get yourself in a scenario where you are willing to sell somebody out. This is a massive organization. How can we so confidently state that nobody had anything to do here, to do with anything here? And I think that one of the things that Erika was like, well, I'm not like a feminist, and I didn't want the vibe of that, which I think it did come across like a bit of a feminist, to say like, this is all my family. I'm like, how could this all be your family? I know people in this family and they're not good people. I wouldn't even do that with my own family. Okay. I got people in my family, like we all do, who aren't exactly walking a straight arrow in life. And yeah, so I've communicated that. I have not changed my position on that. I am not going to stop researching the characters in this that I don't feel good about. But further to sort of them just creating and making things up, Tim Pool has now gone out and extraordinarily claimed that I have the same
I've never seen him without his hat
as Charlie Kirk, and that I'm a fraud, and that actually I have the exact same security. You will recall that Tim just said a week ago that I have no security. Okay, this is Tim Pool a week ago.
She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you told me? She has no security. She doesn't deal with the we have to deal with. She's a piece of
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy, and she doesn't give a about her security.
So that was like Tim last Monday.
Yeah.
This is Tim who said I had no security except for one fat guy, which I told you was not true. Now he's saying this. Take a listen.
Okay.
This was today, I think.
I'll say things that I probably shouldn't say, but I'm going to say, 'cause I always get super heated on this. Candace Owens has the same security team as Turning Point and Charlie Kirk did. She's lying. She has the same security people. I've been digging into this. I've been meeting with people and talking with them. And I shouldn't say too much because there's more that's going to be coming out soon. Because rest assured, people are filing legal paperwork against
I think Tim Pool has too much estrogen. Too much.
her. Candace has the same security team, or has used the same security companies and the same security personnel as Charlie and Erika did. So when she comes out and is questioning them, she is lying outright. Now, I've invited many of these people to come on. We'll see what happens. We'll see when they can. The issue is, the moment Candace goes on her show to millions of people and lies, litigation begins. And what happens when litigation begins? People don't do interviews about it. She is exploiting this, and she knows she is, to keep people wrapped up in this insanity.
Tim versus Tim, undefeated. And what I will also say is that's all a lie. It's almost like they
Tim.
have just sent a call, like they're getting too close, and just said, I don't care what you write. I don't care if it's complete fiction. Make it believable. Say her husband beats her. Say her, like it's coming after my husband. They're coming after me, and they're making stuff up. I have never employed the same security team as Charlie Kirk, ever. We went our separate ways early. Actually, there was like, it's obviously been publicized before he had Schaefer Security, and Schaefer Security, which was run by Greg Schaefer, who has issued a public statement. They had Dan Flood and Brian Harpool working for them initially. I told Charlie I did not like the security apparatus. I got my own security separate from Charlie from the very beginning. Okay. That's a fact. It just is a fact. There's no way to undo that fact. Trying to do this strategy of you're going to get sued, it's just threatening somebody. If there was any truth to that, you can't just file legal paperwork. You have to send a cease and desist. You have to say, something you said on your show was untrue. Can you please correct this? Okay. And if I ignore that, as I did with Brigitte, because I told the truth, as I did with Kim Clasey, because I told the truth, then you have the grounds to file something. We have received no cease and desist from Charlie Security whatsoever. Over what? I mean, the audacity that you're filing a lawsuit and someone got murdered on your watch because I accurately said that the Brian Harpool, the message he showed belonged to Dan Flood. It did. And that they didn't do a walkthrough on that day. They didn't. Like, and if something I'm getting wrong and you'd like to show me that actually you did, send it over. We're only interested in getting the truth, and we're not getting it. We're certainly not expecting to get it from Tim Pool.
No.
That is crazy. That's just crazy town. But I do think that is right now the Zionist strategy, and that's why I want to encourage you guys to stay focused. Huachuca, which we're going to have a lot on tomorrow, because there is something there, and I think that caused a panic, as well as the Egyptian planes, which I am telling you go back, relate to Israel, and I will be able to prove that tomorrow for all of the naysayers. And again, it's only because this is how they act. If they always overreact, and then it lets us know that we are close. They are like an alarm.
On X, they call him Tampon Tim, actually.
They are just an alarm. Something else that I wanted to show you, by the way, I thought we were not supposed to be doing live streams while we were speaking.
Yeah.
But Turning Point, I guess, has their daily show, but that I didn't feel like that was communicated to me. It felt like a ceasefire, and then it got violated.
Right.
But they had an interesting conversation on their show yesterday, on the Charlie Kirk show, about this trial, the upcoming trial, about Tyler Robinson. And here is what they had to say. Take a listen.
So this is straight from the charging document. It says Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a, quote, stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. And when you see how easy that rooftop access is, you start to kind of put one and one together, and you realize that Robinson had a plan that he was going to ultimately take it.
So they're talking about how easy the roof. I don't know if they'll get to that. Hopefully they do. But how easy it was to get to that rooftop, and that conspiracy theorists are making it sound like it was really difficult. I don't know about all that, but what I do know, if it was so easy, then why did they not secure that location?
Advantage of, and he obviously knew how easy it was to get up to that rooftop, which is terrifying.
It really is. And look, one of the other things that's being pushed around for a long time was that, TPUSA, both the local chapter and you guys, didn't advertise this event till a couple days prior to. Now, the insinuation there is that doesn't give Tyler enough time to plan for this. And what we found out with a little bit of, 20, not even 5 minutes of Googling and looking.
Yeah.
Look, you guys had already put out on your website as early as August 27th. So we have at least almost a full 2 weeks prior to this, that not only the time of the event, but the location, the exact location of the UVU courtyard. So when you have over 10 days of planning, and it sounds like that Tyler already was familiar with the campus to begin with, like a lot of the mystery of this starts to go out the window, and it starts to really conform with what is exactly being proposed by the state of Utah and the FBI in the charging documents.
Yeah, and we can attest. Andrew Cipher, who's our head of field, Charlie sometimes throw the events out, 7-10 days in advance. If something opened up in his schedule, he would be able to do these outdoor events a pretty quick turn. And so those.
So there was a truce. They weren't supposed to do anything regarding Charlie Kirk online, live stream, tweets, anything on social media. They immediately broke it. They broke the truce and decided to go ahead and do this. So this is how they operate.
Those whole that whole theory kind of goes out the window.
So, unless I am mistaken, and I am not perfect, but I do feel like we worked really hard to see when this location was first revealed. The first time that we found that the courtyard was mentioned, because Charlie's speaking at events, so your assumption would be they're inside, right? You have no idea where it is. So it's not like you can see whether you have a shot to the courtyard unless you know Charlie's speaking in the courtyard. The earliest that we found that was on September 2nd. The local media mentioned on KMYU that Charlie was speaking at UVU in the courtyard. Okay. That's the first time that we found this. If I am wrong, please tag me, because what he's referring to on August 27th that happened, which we have on our timeline as well, and this is why I love a timeline, is that TPUSA, UVU, and the local BYU chapter shared a graphic announcing that Charlie was coming to UVU, but there were absolutely no location details mentioned. So that actually does shred the idea that he could have practically gone and scaled rooftops before September 2nd. That's the first public mention, is September 2nd. So they announced the event on August 27th, as he says, no location details. And then on September 2nd, there are location details provided by local media for the first time. Prove me wrong. Okay. Prove me wrong if I'm inaccurate, because I do think that we were thorough on that. I will update my timeline. If not, it does then beg the question, surely they must have footage after September 2nd of him testing the rooftop in some capacity to then realize, oh, it's going to be an outdoor event. This is an opportunity for me to go after him. We are waiting for that. And like I said, I was told that they don't have anything that the public doesn't have. So it's not obvious to me. I don't think it's obvious to the public. Now, I do want to get to Viva Frey, who had this to say regarding drones. Regarding the text messages from Tyler Robinson.
A lot has been made about these text exchange that went back and forth between Robinson and his lover, his trans furry gay lover, whatever. And people say it doesn't sound right. Well, there is a video that I want everybody to check out by Turkey Tom. I believe you've watched it now, Viva, where, this has been authenticated as somebody who was in the Discord chats with them and apparently spent time with them at this apartment. And he said 100% this is how they talked, which is a striking finding. We're going to go into that more probably tomorrow or the next day, depending on how today goes. But I mean, I get the skepticism on this. At first, it struck me too, but apparently this is how they talk, Viva.
That was not the most implausible thing to believe. Okay, so you have a text message. It does read, regardless of whether or not this is how they talk, people saying they were manufactured by or drafted by AI. To the extent that they're confirmed text messages, you can, come to whatever conclusions you want after that. But whether or not this is how they talk regularly, to the extent that those were authentic text messages, they show what they show, which is whether or not his lover was aware of what was going on. You're etching bullets, and it's maybe not for target practice of a sporting nature. But like when I say I don't believe the official narrative, and you have to go back to a number of things here. I put my sort of best theory as to what went down. I want to know who was on the Discord chat in advance, what they were discussing, and whether or not there might have been some other I say foreign, not foreign government, but outer influence there. Tyler Robinson is getting radicalized right about the same time as Thomas Crooks, right about the same time as the other guy, Ryan Ruth. He's being radicalized at a politically relevant period of time, right around the same time, oddly enough, as the alleged suspect in the January 6th pipe bomber. A time frame where political violence is potentially very useful in for the upcoming election. So the time frame of the radicalization is very interesting. To see whether or not he was on anybody's radar beforehand, we don't yet know that, and why there would not be confirmation on that can lead to suspicion. You remember the old man, George Zinn, arrested for claiming to be the shooter the day of, and then gets busted for CP on his phone. Like, in my mind, if I'm making a plausible theory here, George Zinn was probably on some Discord chat with a bunch of young perverts, and he's an old pervert, and he's getting off doing whatever they do on those chats. He knows what's going down. He shows up there and thinks he's going to be some useful decoy or distraction for Tyler Robinson because they know what's going down. That's my theory. But, it is the absence of total disclosure, the total lack of faith that anybody has, not just in the FBI per se, but in any state law enforcement. Nobody has any faith in our institutions anymore. And it leads people to go from, a healthy skepticism to just not believing it, to concocting the most outlandish conspiracy theories imaginable. But then those text messages, you can understand how they will cause people to come to those types of conclusions. And, allegedly the rumors are Kash Patel, getting mad at Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent for trying to look into a potential terrorist angle to this also does nothing to foment faith in the system.
Thank you.
I think it's what he's saying there is perfectly valid, and we can all surmise about what we think happened that day. We can also ignore the fact that I broke the story that the nurses were told at Utah Valley, which treated George Zinn. Everyone's just ignoring the things that I broke. She has no evidence, but he told the nurses that he was paid to do that. So whatever, we can all theorize, which we're going to do in the absence of any concrete facts. But I will say it's good that Turning Point is at least giving that air, right? I feel before, I think that might even be the first time Andrew Colvett has expressed that he thought that those messages were weird initially. That's good. That's what people want. They want fresh air at Turning Point USA. They want different perspectives. They want to feel like you're willing to have a conversation, and that at least you're going to defend people when they're being called liars when they're telling the truth about something. That would feel more authentic, I think. And so I am, just to say this, very happy that we are on much better feet and that we have opened the lines of communication. I do genuinely think that Justin Strife did a great job reffing that conversation yesterday. And I also do want to shout out Megyn Kelly, because we were trying to make this happen in the background really since Blake Neff fumbled the first invite. And thank you. That's in large part because of you guys at home that were like, what the F was that? And I think that they got enough flack that they were like, okay, we got to fix this. But I want to commend him for making that happen, for being the person that, kind of rolled up his sleeves and was like, okay, let's actually make a conversation happen and start answering some questions, which I think was done well. And Megyn Kelly, who was initially going to, when we were going to live stream the conversation before the Barry Weiss moment, Megyn Kelly offered to ref that conversation. I felt like she would have done a very good job. I do think that she has kept it very even. She has not been hysterical and it's demonic, it's evil, how dare Candace? And I appreciated that. She has said, I don't agree with Candace, but I also don't think that she's doing this because she's been possessed by a demon. I think she actually believes these things, and I do. And I have a right to believe those things. And I don't feel any differently about the people that I mentioned on the show that I think are shady at Turning Point USA. And with time, we'll see whether or not I was right. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Time will tell.
All around, definitely a productive conversation. I know it's 4 hours, so more things will come to my mind as they become relevant. But I think that's a good pause for right now. We'll throw to some of our sponsors. All right, you guys. So for many families, the holidays.
So did I hear that correctly? Did they say that George Zinn, so they took him into custody, and then after that, CP was found on his phone? Okay, you can go. Okay, you have CP on your phone. You can go. Here's your phone back. Yeah, I mean, the Utah police, I still think it's really shady that Kash Patel says we're out of the investigation. Utah's handling that. If they need help or if they need something from us, we're there for them, but we don't want to mess up their investigation. To me, that's passing the buck quite a bit, and I don't believe that. If they're hands off, it's because they want to be. Kash Patel. Yes, Kash Patel and Megyn Kelly. I don't know. I know Candace is showing appreciation. Candace's chat is wild. Half her chat is calling her a sellout. Yeah, I think she anticipated that. It was already looking like people were ready to turn, and it's because we just. I think the majority of people are just so fed up with being lied to by everyone and not knowing who to trust. And I don't know. I think maybe want to continue to see drama too. So I bet how could you even read that, Rebel? That thing goes so fast. Like I gave up even trying. That's why I started this, is so that we could talk a little bit here in the chat. Anyway, let's see. George has been in a number of these incidents. Yeah, I heard that too. I remember them saying that. And why and who was he paid by? And you know, are they going to use that information? I mean, I doubt it. I mean, they're not talking to relevant people, so I mean that we know of, that it looks like right now anyway. But yeah, read fast. LOL. Another tism. Yeah, I have to slow things way down and grab my glasses because I have to hold things out like this to be able to see. The space between where I can see up close or far away is getting, smaller and smaller. I have just this little window. Okay, here Candace is back.
If you want to make him a sandwich in time for Christmas, you can do that on Amazon. If you want a discount, you can buy it direct from us at makehimasandwich.com, and you will actually get 20% off. And we also have signed copies available at CandaceOwens.com, so be sure to do that. We have new merch on the website, which also makes great Christmas gifts. Obviously, we have a lot of fun merch going on right now. Of course, we have our We Don't Know But We Know
I think
merch,
I want a
and we
sweatshirt.
have our CIA merch, which we've had for some time. Again, it's the holiday season, so go ahead and run and get that. Top comment from last episode: you better keep asking questions because it's the only thing that keeps us free. That is a direct quotation from Charlie Kirk, and that's why we're doing it. It does keep us free, and we're all sensing the squeeze. It's like they just want our speech. They want to purchase rational thinking. We can't allow that to happen. Okay, from this episode, Curbster writes, I am praying that our girl is playing the ultimate long game while staying true to her convictions and true toward all of us who have backed her and Charlie from the beginning. I am praying that God keeps you strong, righteous, and faithful in every step that you take. May God save America and protect us all. I want to say this to you guys just plainly. If I was going to sell out, it would have happened in the last 2 years, okay? Those offers were made. Those threats were made. I hope you have seen what I have gone through to keep myself, really. I was fighting to stay me, and it was hard. And that it made me really appreciate the fact that we do live in a matrix and every element is controlled. And that is why they are vicious right now with making up things about me and my family, because now that I chose freedom, they hate that I have freedom. They hate that there's no more threats to make, right? So they're just embarking on this fan fiction campaign. But especially for the people that I care about in life, right? Especially for people whose heads I have held up, who have held up my head through really hard times like Charlie did, that I would just sell out to like the highest bidder and go, okay, well, you know what? BB offered me a lot of money, so I'm going to stop talking about this, and I'm no longer going to explore this angle, or I'm going to, to repeat to you guys that it was definitely Tyler Robinson. It's just not in my character. I have always been the kind of person that knows that it's not worth living life that way. My whole spirit would be corrupted. I couldn't do it. I struggle with people that can do it. I struggle seeing people who have so obviously sold their souls on the internet. It's very frustrating to watch it. Central 848 writes, Candace, please look into the possibility that Charlie was electrocuted and that the hole in his neck was made by the currents passing through his necklace and out of his throat. The images of his charred hands are conclusive and compelling. Please, for the love of God, look into this. I did watch that video that Baron Coleman put together. First and foremost, I want to say Baron Coleman has done some incredible work, and I actually told him that we should get together and collaborate because I had watched a video of his where he was building on Camp Huachuca, and he made me notice some things. So then we started researching some other elements, and that's what we're going to move on to tomorrow.
Baron Coleman on YouTube. So that's a theory, is that Charlie was electrocuted, because it shows, and they've done an incredible job building this theory. His hands are burned. And so there's all kinds of stuff going around about that right now.
I can tell you definitively, that's a weird camera angle. They do look charred in the photos that he showed, but I can tell you that his hands were not charred when he was buried. And so what you thought that, like, people were like, oh, this was like makeup and stuff. It was a very compelling theory. It just wasn't so. And I very much trust the person that told me that. But that said, the Baron Coleman, if you have not seen the episode where he builds on what I said about Camp Huachuca, that is worth a watch. he kind of suggests in that episode, which I want to shut down, he suggests that, I think he heavily suggests that it could have been the Veep on that, on the base, Vance on the base. And I did then research because I was like, oh, wow, is he right? There's actually video of Vance. So it could not have been Vance on the base. Again, I'm getting ahead of ourselves here. We should talk about more of that tomorrow. But that is a very compelling video that he did, which was fantastic work. And I do want to collaborate with him. Maybe we'll do it this week or next week. Or is next week Christmas? I guess. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Jenna writes, your true fans had no doubts about you whatsoever. Merry Christmas to you. I was like, are you new here? Girl, I have been maimed, fired, caricatured. I'm watching right now. My family go through that right now because they are so desperate. And I just think we're close to an awakening and really understanding what real evil is. So we're going to keep pushing. Zachary Loft writes, longtime listener, first-time donor. Why wasn't the combo live? Why is Brandon Tatum the only creator that you follow on both IGs? That was 2 questions. Okay, the first thing, why wasn't the combo live? It was first intended to be live. They did say, obviously, you saw the offer Blake Neff made, which was not a true offer. But then what came behind that was Erika communicating with Megyn Kelly and me. Megyn Kelly was kind of the intermediary. We were trying to find someone that was fair, like I said earlier. And then obviously it sort of felt like it got a bit uglier the next week. And I sort of felt, and I think it was fair, that then she went on this press tour and it was kind of directed at me. So then they said, okay, well, by that I mean Justin Strife kind of said, the temperature's a little hot right now. What about we do like not an off record conversation, but have a private conversation. And I actually will say, I wished it was live, but I will also say I am glad that some parts weren't, because I was then able to tell them some things that I have not yet said that I wanted to like fact check and get some answers on, but also to say something to them that I found out that I didn't say because I didn't want to hurt the company in a way, right? So some of this is very relevant to Charlie's research and what happened on 9/10, and some of it is not. So we got to, I guess, have that portion of the conversation I think was better off camera. But I was always open and am still open to live streaming with them whenever. Truly, like whenever. You guys know I'm an open book, so it wasn't my demand that it be private. I was happy to do a live stream.
I want to see her talk to
But
Andrew.
I think Justin thought that it would be
live.
better if after, just so we could kind of bring the temperature down, which I think was very much accomplished. Temperature was definitely brought down.
Yeah.
Zachary Loft wrote, longtime listener for, oh, sorry, I just read that. Mr. Bruce Lee writes, people in the chat, many other channels are not hearing what they want to hear. So it's automatically, well, Candace got paid. The chats are so botted. It's better to actually look at comments after the episode to see what people think. And we've had so many people talk about how there are so many bots in the chat. And so focus on obviously the words that I am saying.
So I feel like that could have been strategic too, you guys. They know having a private conversation. Like, I don't want to be, I totally have a conspiracy theorist mind, but I also can like sort through it. But they would have anticipated this would cast doubt upon Candace and some people would pull away, right? They're smart. Those people know what they're doing.
And obviously you can tell that I have not been paid because I wouldn't be talking about Israel. And I think there's something to explore there. We'll get into that tomorrow. One Will Wallace writes, pretty clear to me that Kirk was murdered because of his voice and influence. Here's some support toward that security detail. Thank you very much. It's obvious that these people will stop at nothing to silence someone. Continue to stand 10 toes down for the truth. But please be careful. God bless you, Candace. Thank you. That is actually a tremendous donation. Thank you for guys who have been giving these donations, which have gotten bigger because you're concerned about security. And I think everybody after a Charlie Kirk assassination is more concerned about security. It's a discussion that my husband and I are having more and more. And that's why it feels especially disgusting when someone like Tim Pool is trying to signal to people, attack her. Like he's basically trying to signal to people
keep
that
showing him
her
bald,
security's
you
weak,
guys.
or like she's using the same security as Charlie. All
They keep showing him bald. They're being spicy doing that.
all of these things, like he is trying to put into the air that he wants me to be attacked. That's how I'm taking this, because why is he making my security a theme on his show? I don't trust that at all. And I don't know what's guiding that. Rio Bays writes, how would Erika and the feds not see those messages? That makes zero sense to me. I think you're referring to the messages that Charlie got the night before.
I'm balding. I just think it's funny that they're doing that.
We didn't discuss whether the feds had received those messages. I will say that. We did not discuss that. But we did discuss, she obviously said that she did not see those messages. So I'm going to read the rest of your comment. How would Erika and the feds not see those messages? That makes zero sense. Erika, Brian Harpole, and so many others caught in these lies. This is what you fished for. Why go soft? That doesn't make sense. Also heard that we're chilling with TPUSA members at Tucker's party. That's another more fan fiction. I have no idea what that was about. You're referring to a person who went and said that Candace was hanging out with TPUSA and Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene at Tucker's Christmas party. To my knowledge, I did not see any Turning Point USA employees. I did not have a conversation with any Turning Point USA employees. To my knowledge, that I did not see them. It was a massive party. I have never had beef with Tucker. That's why I was at his Christmas party. And I've never had beef with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So yeah, I spoke to them. That's what I mean. It's like the attacks are just every second of every day accusing me of something. And the implication there was like I was like sitting on the side laughing and enjoying a beer with Terrell Farnsworth and Tyler Boyer. I am sure, because Tucker obviously has a good relationship with them, that there were some Turning Point USA employees. I didn't speak to them. To my knowledge. I did not speak to them. So I actually responded and I said to the person, why don't you publish who you're talking about? You don't have to, like, everyone's like beating around the bush. Like, I can't say what I know about her security. Say it, because you're lying. Okay. If you say you know something about how I'm actually secretly laughing with Turning Point USA, speak plainly. I have nothing to hide. I am not the person who's playing any games right now. So if you're going to call me out, go all the way. Okay. Go max on calling me out, because if I'm a fraud, the public sure as hell deserves to know it. And you're not going to find me in a situation like that. Isabella Mazzone writes, can you elaborate more about Charlie and his journey to Catholicism? Did Erika confirm that? I am going through a journey with Catholicism as well. And I think that they should be honest about that. Look, obviously Erika confirmed it. I was always telling the truth. That was one of the first things I said. I was like, what was that weird Alex Clark thing? I was being attacked for no reason. And then I get these people doubling down on it. And I know that they know that it's true that Charlie was going to mass. And I can't speak on whether he was close to converting. That's a conversation, like you said, Erika can speak on that. And there might be a time and a place for her to do that. I can only speak on the fact that I wasn't lying and that I was having those conversations with him, that he was attending mass. And I do think, from what I've been told, that he was planning on signing up and starting that process, but I did not personally have that conversation with him. So that's third party. The right person to speak about that would be Erika. And I do think she should. I think she should, because nobody was nastier to me than the Judeo-Christians, the evangelical crowd, because I told the truth about conversations that I had with Charlie about Catholicism. And none of them corrected the record. None of them said, I'm sorry. None of them said I didn't know what I was speaking about. They just kind of doubled and tripled down on attacking me, which is a repeat theme. I'm always being attacked for telling the truth, and I just keep telling the truth. So, yeah. What's the lie? Where is the lie? Where is the lie? Lastly, Lamp writes, how come Qatar is always used as the go-to punching bag by the media? Why does Qatar never even push back? And Qatar seems to never attack Israel in a war of aggression or any sort of attack. Have they ever even done anything negative toward Israel? Well, Qatar recently came out and said, yeah, we work with Hamas because Israel and the United States asked us to. They asked us to play the intermediary. And now we are being attacked for doing what they asked us to do, which sounds like the most absolute United States Israel thing ever, is to ask people to help you and then to be like, oh, I'm so horrified by what they're doing. And I tend to believe that. I don't understand the weird Qatar thing. Like I said, I would take Qatari money. I would. They haven't called me. It's deeply upsetting. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong, what I'm getting wrong, what I can do better to make them call me. I would be totally one of those people that's in the commercials. Have you seen, like, Qatari Airlines is supposed to be amazing, apparently. And I'd be in a commercial for Qatari Airlines. I don't mind somebody making that NAI video and maybe sending that over to the Qatari embassy and seeing if they want to hire me. I am open to being paid by Qatar. So I don't get it. I don't know why Jared Kushner and Zionists are allowed to go to Qatar, which happened recently, and do deals with them. But for some reason, Candace and Tucker are not. It's just not fair. What do I have to do to be seen by Qatar? I guess it's a question for another day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, Candace. Well, so her chat was to be expected. That would happen. I'm sure she's not surprised. I'm sure she anticipated that too. She's smart. She knows the internet, how that they can be. So anyways, I told you I had this video, and I wanted to show you that. And then also what they're doing. So it's not just Candace. So it's anybody who wants to speak up about the administration and about what we're doing. And they're coming after us hard. They're coming after creators, and they want you to know they're coming after them hard, because they want you to know that they're going to come after you next. Like it starts, it starts in the administration, then it comes down to the media, then it comes down, the Republicans in the administration, then the media, then alternative media, and then where do you think it's going to cascade down from there? It's just going to go deeper and go further. So anyways, I want to play you this. If you can stick around, let's see. So this is about 7 minutes if you want to stick around for it. It's a longer speech that he gave at this convention, but I clipped it down so that we could view it and not have it so lengthy. But he says it really clearly.
For 6 months, I've been fighting these bastards, whether it's Tucker Carlson or whether it's Nick Fuentes. And I've been looking over my shoulder looking for help. And you know what I found? Nothing. Nothing. We're here today to do something about this. What do you mean we don't cancel people? We canceled David Duke. Donald Trump canceled David Duke. We canceled Pat Buchanan. We canceled the John Birch Society. We canceled Joseph Sobran. We canceled pornography on TV. We cancel stuff all the damn time. Hitler admirers, Stalin admirers, Jew haters, American haters, Churchill haters. You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them. It's called the market system. They don't have a lifetime job like a bureaucrat.
The thing is, the market system is speaking. The market is speaking and saying we're done. But he's saying, no, that's not allowed. But we can cancel you. We can cancel them.
Who we're going to protect. And if they're your friend, there's something wrong with you. No Hitler admirer, Holocaust denier, platformer should be anybody's friend, as a matter of fact. You don't get to wrap your psychotic, mental, unhinged, Nazi, Klan, jihadist bullshit around American patriotism.
I'm sorry if curse words offend you. I need to figure out how to automatically bleep those out somehow.
You don't get to claim you're MAGA and America first when you're lining up with the Marxists and the Islamists and Hamas and the terrorists. That's not America first. That's sick. Now, I don't need more than 15 minutes. The cowards. We're surrounded by cowards who have microphones, who have TV cameras, who have websites, who have columns. Cowards. It's spelled C-A-R-L-S-O-N. It's spelled
Carlson.
F-U-E-N-T-E-S. It's spelled O-W-E-N-S. It's
So to be fair, he's talking about Nick Fuentes. Obviously, he spelled out Carlson and Owens, and Nick Fuentes. That's clear on the other spectrum of Candace and Tucker.
spelled B-A-N-N-O-N. It's spelled Marjorie Trader Green. You can figure that out yourself. And they're not alone.
And all Marjorie did was say, "Show us the Epstein files."
How are we going to attack the Mondamis and the Talibs and the Omars and the Sanders and the rest of them when in our own house this poison is spreading? We've got to take care of business. We can fight the enemy on the other side. But the problem is, the more daunting problem, the more complicated problem is when they're in our house and they're trying to take over our house and they're burning down our house and they're destroying America First and they're destroying MAGA and they're destroying the Republican Party.
They refuse to take responsibility for what they've done to themselves.
Which means they're destroying the country. Either speak up and stand out, but don't be a pretender. Don't be a pretender. We need help to deal with these people. These aren't policy disputes. These aren't personality issues. We're talking about liberty versus tyranny, good versus evil, right versus wrong, democracy versus
Tyranny. But limiting free speech isn't tyranny, as long as it benefits you.
terrorism. Western Enlightenment versus 7th century barbarians. The Greatest Generation versus the Third Reich. Chamberlain versus Hitler. Reagan versus Stalin. Is it really that tough to call these buffoons out and to set the record straight? No, it's not. So I'm glad to see the courage that's pouring off this stage. I really am. And some of them deserve a pat on the back. But we need more. We need more. We
It gets better.
need more. You don't come here, say things, and go home and forget about it. I stay up at nights thinking about this stuff, weekends thinking about this stuff, how we're going to fight it, how we're going to confront it, how we're going to defeat it. And you do it first and foremost by calling it out. That's what you do. This is America first, not the sick rantings of unaccomplished Neanderthals who have social media sites who've contributed absolutely nothing to this country. Zero. What have they contributed? What have they done?
Voices of the people. That's what they contribute. Free thought.
Nothing. To ignore this, or to be timid, impotent, tolerant, to acquiesce to it, to waste time debating these people rather than exposing them, to intellectualize it, to respond with anything but moral certainty and clarity, to fail, to call it out everywhere and anywhere, is to be devoured by it. You either put it out or it devours you. It's that simple. It's devoured them. If the Republican Party goes, we lose our country. If the Republican Party goes, we lose our liberty, our private property rights, our Declaration, our Constitution. We lose our Israel.
We lose our liberty, our Constitution, by letting people speak.
We lose our other allies. That's how serious this is.
We lose
Isn't it
our
weird that the
Israel.
voices of the woke alt-right isolationists sound more like the Marxists and the Islamists? Isn't it interesting? To Tucker Carlson, I say, did you have a head injury? What happened to you? Christian Zionists? He despises them even more than Jews? Christian Zionists? If you reject Judaism, you reject Christianity. If you reject Judaism and Christianity, then you reject the American founding based on the Judeo-Christian values and belief system. These are ideologies that want to kill us. Oh, no, I'm just asking questions. Okay, I'm answering it. I'm answering your damn questions. This is going to separate, and you're going to see, whether they're in radio or TV or podcasting or politicians, this is going to separate statesmen and leaders from the rest. From the rest. And you can observe this yourselves. These aren't powerful people. Seriously? These aren't intelligent people. These are lowlives that have platforms. If we can't speak out against them and fight them, what good are we? Conservative institutions. We've been putting billions of dollars into conservative institutions for half a century. Now's the time. We're not interested in your white papers. We're not interested in your booklets. We're not interested in your donation requests. Unless now, when you're needed, you speak out and you do something to help save this republic, to help save freedom in this country, to help save the West. Now's the time for conservative institutions to produce the pro-Hitler wing of the Republican Party and the pro-Hitler wing of the Democrat Party. I want to say
Pro-Hitler.
this to the people who are attacking America by attacking Jews and Christians, by attacking our history. I want to say something to you. You're not going to get what you want. You know why? Because we're not going anywhere. Not now, not ever. Ironically, you little bastards have done more to unite us with our Christian brothers and sisters and Jews. I don't care, atheists, agnostics, straight, gay, men, women, whatever it is. You have done more to unite America than anything else in this country. Because Americans love America. Americans love freedom, liberty. Americans love the Golden Rule, the Ten Commandments. We Americans love our Bible. Americans, some the Old Testament, some the Old and the New Testament. They're in the same Bible for many people. We are hooked at the hip, Jew and Christian, and nothing will or can come between us as we face the Islamists, the Marxists, and the pro-Hitler crowd. You had Franklin Roosevelt, whose domestic policies I completely reject.
Them against us against them.
But in his alliance against Hitler with Churchill, it was a great marriage. Reagan and Thatcher, Trump and Netanyahu.
Wait for it.
Stand up, Trump and Netanyahu. And I just want the anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-West crowd to understand something. You're going to have to come through me and millions of people just like me, and you're not going to make it. You think your stupid little podcast, or your stupid little subscription program, or your little TV show, or maybe you have a little radio show, is going to change the world like hell it is. Not if I and everybody else have something to say about it.
Wow. Wow. Not, oh, I just was Wow. I'm standing. I hope you're applauding. Okay. So here's the Tim Pool round. I'm going to share. Let's see what happened to America First. Tim Pool rounds. Okay. Actually, it's Wolves in Finance. So he's talking about TPUSA. He's talking about TPUSA here. I'll push play.
For anyone who's been paying attention, Turning Point themselves has been viciously attacking other Republicans. Just last month, a Republican city council member, Julie Spilsbury, was recalled in an effort led by Turning Point. She was kicked out of office in the middle of her term. Now, I don't know that much about her, but she looks like a sweet, nice person. Honestly, she looks like someone I would be friends with. She looks like a decent human being. This is a city council person. Turning Point went to her and said, if you do not vote the way Turning Point tells you to vote, we're going to kick you out. Spilsbury is not a rhino. We're not talking about someone like Liz Cheney. This is a mainstream Republican. Turning Point destroyed her life. Now, this is not illegal. It's just dirty politics, so I get it. But why is Tim Pool supporting this? For Tim Pool to argue on his show that we all need to just shut up and support Turning Point for Republican unity, that is the height of hypocrisy.
Yeah, so it's just like I said, it's cultish mindset. So there's one more I wanted to show you, and it's Brett Cooper. I don't know if you guys, I don't listen to all of her stuff. Sometimes I'll catch stuff, but this was talking about the H-1B visas. And then I'll be done with the things I wanted to share with you guys as far as that goes. Okay, what happened? Here we go. To stage. Okay.
Vivek's rationality is that they spent too much time focusing on the prom, and so therefore we can't get rid of H-1B visa program, which we know is abused. And if you don't believe me, take it from Palmer Luckey, who is the founder of Oculus.
Of course, there's so much H-1B abuse. You would not believe what I saw when I was in Silicon Valley. It is insane. It's obviously a program to try and replace U.S. workers with basically slave labor that can't ever escape.
Slave labor that is cheaper. How can young Americans expect to compete with that when that is the alternative? And by the way, what Palmer is laying out there is so far from what the H-1B visa program was created for, what it was intended to do. Because when it was introduced in 1990, Vivek, I don't know if that correlates, I just think that that is interesting, but when it was introduced in 1990, it was supposed to be a temporary solution. But as we all have come to understand now, nothing in government is temporary. If they say that it is temporary, just expect it to be around.
Weren't our taxes supposed to be temporary, our voluntary taxes?
For decades at this point. But the purpose, when it was created, was for employers to be able to hire skilled foreign laborers temporarily for jobs that they could not find Americans to do, or jobs that Americans could not do yet, that they were not trained in. And at the time...
And remember, Charlie Kirk was speaking against this.
Those were usually jobs in STEM. Now, fast forward over 40 years, the system is completely abused. It is no longer used in emergent temporary situations, and it is often preferred because, like Palmer said, the labor is cheaper. And it has allowed businesses to import millions of immigrants into our already bloated country, where Americans are consistently getting the short end of the stick. That is what we voted to fight against. That is what we were expecting and wanting Trump to push back against. And so now, 11 months into this administration, we have Donald Trump digging his heels in and say, no, actually, we do need this program. And it's so disappointing to hear him say that, to say that Americans have no talent, that we need these foreign workers, because Trump once stood against this program for the very reasons that I just laid out.
I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it.
Okay, so he's speaking out against it. And he openly says, I use it and I shouldn't. So these are the type of person. So here's the thing. Okay, I'll wait.
Very bad for workers. And second of all, I think it's very important to say, well, I'm a businessman and I have to do what I have to do. And it's sitting there waiting for you, but it's very bad. It's very bad for business in terms of, it's very bad for our workers, and it's unfair for our workers.
you have to do what you have to do. No, you don't have to do what you have to do. You don't have to make an obscene amount of money. What do you do with it? Like, okay, be rich, but you don't have to have that much. You don't have to be that greedy.
And we should end it.
Okay, we should end it. So that's what, okay. Anyway, so here's the thing. We have people in office, we have people in leadership, we have people in control who do things they know are bad for America. They know it. He knew it before, he knows it now, and he's still trying to do it. So here's what I'm saying. Like if you won't do what's good when no one is looking and when no one tells you not to, if you do it, then you'll do it in secrecy, you'll do it in hiding, you'll do what's best for you. And if you can't do it behind the scenes when it's not good, when you know it's not good, you're just kind of a useless. I messed up on what I wanted to say because I got so upset. But what is this? The ending of the convertible of the US dollar to gold from is supposed to be temporary. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's all tempting. Like we say, here's rules for you, and it's good. I'll still do what I want. Good for thee, not for me. Anyways, it's sick. And this is the type of people we have in leadership, that they'll knowingly do something that's not right and not good so that they can pad their own pockets. So that's where we are. And I think America is sick of it, and America is standing up for it. And people, who have been conservative Republicans and, on that side for a long time, they're starting to speak out. And of course, they're going to turn against them. Welcome to America. But if you don't want to do it in the light, don't do it at all. Thank you. That's what I was getting at. And then I got flustered because I got so just upset about it. So I don't know. It's like me saying to the kids, right? Don't drink out of the milk jug. And so am I going to turn around and drink out of the milk jug? So I've thought about it. I think sometimes I'm like, I could drink out of the milk jug. Nobody's here watching. I could do it. And I don't, because I keep that in the back of my mind. If I ask them not to, if I know I don't want that and it's not good, why am I going to turn around and do something like that? Anyway, that's what I've got to say. That's my little rant that got off on a bad start, but you guys get the point. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they explode into applause. So, anyways, thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, share, all that stuff. I'm on TikTok and on X, and I am on Rumble. However, I haven't started using that yet. I got to learn more about that. Also, there's Substack. TikTok's about useless unless you just go with the party line and say everything in agreement with what the new buyers, the new owners want you to say. So, anyways, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate your engagement, and I'll see you soon and next time. Bye, guys.